1, 2, 3. We're live and clink.
Clink. Oh dear, your video is frozen again from here. I don't know if it's frozen for the broadcast, but that was fun.
Vey. Well, that was fun. I'm going to leave and come back one more time, for goodness sake.
Hi, and welcome to this place.
Hello.
You're out of sync, but you're there. Or not.
I'm here. Like, I'm seeing and hearing you just fine.
Well, I'm the one reading today, so maybe that's what's important.
I guess it's sure gonna be annoying if we can't talk, though.
I can hear you, but you just keep it's like a still frame. Like when the news is like, here is an expert talking, and you can hear the voice and there's the image on the screen. That's you today.
Oh, okay. I wonder if I can check on YouTube and just see what it looks like. Let me try that. How you doing?
I'm doing great. My long lost half brother is upstairs right now.
Oh, very nice. I wasn't sure if he was still going to be in town.
Yes, he had plans for Tuesday, but they'd been relocated or something. He functions a lot like I do. Like, well, I'm here and I'll do things as and when. And I'm like, could you see how you're doing on YouTube? Okay. I'm wishing I'd remembered to grab my stepson's ring light because I looked so pretty when I had a ring light. Okay.
Okay, so I think we are fine on the stream. I think it's your internet. It was very hard for me to tell if we were all in sync because you were talking. The stream's like 5 seconds behind, so you were talking in both, and I was like, I don't know which Robin's talking. But I think we're good.
Okay. If the internet sees good stuff, then I can live with that.
Yeah, mine will do that sometimes, where it'll just show you as like a black square with the circle with a white circle for a while, and then it comes back, and it's just my connection. So,
right.
I think it's fine.
And I could probably reconnect, but I don't want to.
Nah.
You're not that broken up. I found an article this last night about again someone's arguing that Tolkien, that Lord of the Rings is racist, because not against Black people but against Asian people. His argument is that Tolkien wrote the orcs as Asian people, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not true, but I'm willing to learn. But all of his arguments so far have been about like the place and time that Tolkien was writing in and other people and their racism. But none of it so far has been like, and Tolkien said Asian people suck at any, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of parallels drawn that maybe shouldn't have been.
Well, it's hard to say without having read the article, right? Because like I'm willing to learn. Perhaps that was the case. Art is made in a context. The 1920s, 30s was a context that involved a lot of racism, so possibly, but
I am going to leave and come back because that is getting worse.
Okay.
So I can barely hear you and you sound a bit like Max Headroom. So entertain people while I'm gone. I love you.
Oh God, I have to be entertaining. I don't know about this. This seems like a lot of pressure. um, what were we talking about? Oh yes, art being made in a context. Art is made in a context. We lived in a context of white supremacy then. We still do. That's, I mean, a valid argument to make. But I would need to see specifics of why specifically Tolkien was specifically coding the orcs as any particular group. Because I just don't know. I just don't know. I'd have to educate myself to say one way or the other what I think about that. Not that my voice is particularly important in the conversation, honestly. Yeah. I've not been reading scholarly works about Tolkien. Robin's really the one who does most of that, and I go, ooh. I hope she comes back soon. I'm so alone. Well, let's see. It is about noon on a Wednesday, which means it is the very beginning of my day. I work nights. And it is very nice outside. Slightly windy, but not windy like it was the other day. Oof. I'm going to assume that most of our viewers are local and know about the derecho, which is the storm that came through a couple days ago, Saturday, and knocked out my power along with most of everybody's. Very rare storm. First time we've ever had one in Denver, I believe. Called a derecho because it is a straight line, direct, as opposed to a tornado, which twists. So, hello.
Hello. That's better, as far as I can tell. You freeze your face when you're waiting for me to say something, so it could very well be an attack, or it could just be you.
Hey now. Well, you're a little out of sync for me, but not too bad.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
We're good.
I was telling our viewers about the derecho, which was the storm that came through on Saturday. That's what
Is
it's
that
called.
what that was?
Yeah, so it's a very rare type of storm. It's called derecho, meaning direct or like straight line, as opposed to a tornado, which is twisted. So it's basically a straight line tornado.
Oh, dude, I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either. There's never been one in Denver before that we know of. It's like a super rare meteorological phenomenon. My boss looked it up because like half of my office lost power that day. When I say my office, I mean my coworkers. We're not in the office right now, but and so he looked it up and was telling me about it, and it's like this like crazy phenomenon where you just get basically a wall of wind that comes through at like hurricane force, which is what happened. I don't think I told you. I don't think I've had a chance to. Sorry, my shirt's bothering me. But like most of Denver lost power. A lot of us did. For me, there was a electric line. The like pole snapped about 2 blocks up the street from me and fell across the road.
You're not supposed to do that.
They are not supposed to do that, but it turns out when you have the kind of wind that is also uprooting trees, the telephone poles aren't very happy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the power went out at 3 something, and it took like, oh God, I don't even know how long it took to come back on.
Right.
It's like sometime the next day. Ugh. Ah.
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 Where are we?
We're about to enter Moria, I believe. We're at the end of the chapter where they try to go up Caradras and they can't.
That's right. I
don't really have a project today. What was that?
Caradhras had defeated them?
Yes, that's where we're at. I'm going to be doing some coloring by numbers on my phone I find it very soothing. We'll see if it looks cool. If it doesn't, I don't have to do it again. But this is what I got today. I don't have any knitting right now. So, ta-da!
Ooh, pretty.
It is actually really pretty, right?
Totally. Yeah. That is lovely. What fun. Are you choosing the colors?
Right? No, so you tap the color and then it highlights the sections where that color should be, and you tap on them and they turn the color.
Whoa. Okay, remind me later. Remind me later.
So like, boop, boop.
So,
Now it's pink.
that's what's going again. Oh my god, that's what's slowing me down. McAfee's trying to scan my computer.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Like, not now. Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
I've been using this app a lot. I find it very soothing and very nice to do. So, and I'm going to figure out how we can easily do that so that you guys can see it. How's that?
Excellent. My brother arrived, being a Tolkien head, being a lot like us in a scary variety of ways. When you can, we'd never met, but he had never read any Pratchett.
Well, we got to fix that.
Already have. Way ahead of you. I just find it really, really nice to be able to do that sometimes, because usually I hang out with nerds who are like, oh yeah, Discworld is my jam. But every so often you find someone who's like, what now? And I'm like, oh, honey.
Well, you are in for a treat.
World. And I was like, he wrote like 40 novels, and he was like, no, I'm not down for that. And I was like, they're not really a series. They're like 7 different series that are interconnected, and you don't have to read them. You don't have to read all 40 is what I'm trying to say.
You're going to want to, but we don't have to tell you that. First one's free.
Yeah, precisely.
Do you like my nails, by the way?
I love your nails. They're so ombre.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I handed him guards. Gave him the option. I was like, do you want sassy witches in the mountains or the city watch of made up of, I can't remember what I said.
Misfits.
The losers, misfits. And he was like, all right, let's go for City Watch. Chapter 4, A Journey in the Dark. Does that sound like where we're at?
Yes, it does.
Woot! It was evening, and the grey light was again waning fast when they halted for the night. They were very weary. The mountains were veiled in deepening dusk, and the wind was cold. Gandalf spared them one more mouthful each of the Mirror of Rivendell. When they had eaten some food, he called a council. We cannot, of course, go on again tonight, he said. The attack on the Red Horn Gate has tired us out, and we must rest here for a while. And then where are we to go? Asked Frodo. We still have our journey and our errand before us, answered Gandalf. We have no choice but to go on or to return to Rivendell. Pippin's face brightened visibly at the mere mention of return to Rivendell. Merry and Sam looked up hopefully, but Aragorn and Boromir made no sign. Frodo looked troubled. I wish I was back there, he said. But how can I return without shame, unless there is indeed no other way and we are already defeated? You are right, Frodo, said Gandalf. To go back is to admit defeat, and face worse defeat to come. I wish he'd quit giving them options that they can't use.
We can only do this or this, but we can't do this. So it must be this.
You freaking bait and switch. To go back is to... If we go back now, then the ring must remain there. We shall not be able to set out again. Then sooner or later, Rivendell will be besieged, and after a brief and bitter time, it will be destroyed. The ring wraiths are deadly enemies, but they are only shadows yet of the power and terror they would possess if the ruling ring was on their master's hand again. Then we must go on, if there is a way, said Frodo with a sigh. Sam sank back into gloom. There is a way that we may attempt, said Gandalf. I thought from the beginning, when I first considered this journey, that we should try it. But it is not a pleasant way, and I have not spoken of it to the company before. Aragorn was against it until the pass over the mountains had at least been tried. If it is a worse road than the Red Horn Gate, then it must be evil indeed, said Merry. But you had better tell us about it and let us know the worst at once. The road that I speak of leads to the mines of Moria, said Gandalf. Only Gimli lifted up his head. A smouldering fire was in his eyes. On all the others a dread fell at the mention of that name. Even to the hobbits it was a legend of vague fear. Oh, here's a thing that... it can wait. It just popped into my head. But
what is it?
Oh, the cats of Queen Baruthiel. Mike Trout looked him up.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a father-in-law Mike and a brother Mike in the house right now. So I'm like, can I just call him Trout? Apparently all his friends do, because he's got 17 friends named Mike.
Don't we all have 17 friends named Mike?
We all do. So Trout it is. And Trout looked up the cats of Queen Baruthiel for me the other night when he got here. So now I know what the fuck that's about. But it's like 20 pages away from us right now, so I'll bring it up then.
Good. Sounds like a plan.
The road may lead to Moria, but how can we hope that it will lead through Moria? Said Aragorn darkly. It is a name of ill omen, said Boromir.
Like, that's not ominous at all, thanks, Aragorn.
Right. Like, God damn it, guys. It is a name of ill omen, said Boromir. Nor do I see the need to go there. If we cannot cross the mountains, let us journey southwards until we come to the Gap of Rohan, where men are friendly to my people, taking the road that I followed on my way hither. Or we might pass by and cross the Isen into Langstrand and Lebanon, and so come to Gondor from the regions nigh to the sea. Things have changed since you came north, Boromir, answered Gandalf. Did you not hear what I told you of Saruman? With him I may have business of my own ere all is over. But the ring must not come near Isengard if that can by any means be prevented. The Gap of Rohan is closed to us while we go with the bearer. Like, for God's sake, Boromir, shut up.
Things are different now. Do you need a map? I mean, well, not a map. What am I thinking of here? A cake in the face? I don't know.
No, yeah. And it's also like, God's blessed Sean Bean, because he brought so much more to this character than there is in here.
Yeah. Well, I'm like,
let's go together. And everybody has to be like,
Boromir for the last time. He's just very... I feel like Boromir is a very inflexible character. Like, he's very convinced of what he believes, like, men of Rohan are friendly to me, and that's always going to be the case. And I can't conceive of a world where that isn't the case. So,
and he's not very big picture. He's little picture.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all that matters is that they like me. Why is that an issue for you guys?
Yeah.
Like,
and they've always been friendly to my people, and therefore, like, they always will be friendly to my people, and I can't conceive of a circumstance in which that's not the case. And he would have been a very bad ruler. So it's good that he didn't end up being the ruler of Minas Tirith. Yeah. You have to be able to think big picture and adjust when circumstances change, and he's really bad at that.
Right? And his whole, let's go to Lebanon. It's like, honey, we're going to Mordor, not Gondor. Lot of door.
Yeah. I think he's, even from this point, maybe not on board with the fact that they are, in fact, going to Mordor and not Gondor.
Right? Fuck, I don't know if he ever internalized that notion.
I don't think he ever did.
Like, okay, we're going south. That means Gondor. All right, we need to cross the mountains. We're headed for Gondor.
Well, his plan from the very beginning was to bring the ring to his people.
He didn't know it was the ring yet, though.
No, I mean his plan from the beginning of when, you know what I mean.
When he found out that it was,
yeah, when he started traveling with the company, I think subconsciously, even when he was like, yeah, totally, like, destroy it, and we'll just go with you for a little ways, in the back of his mind, he was always like, I'll just bring them to Gondor, and then they'll want to stay and give us this ring because I think it's the right thing to do, and I can't conceive of other opinions than mine.
Yeah, they'll totally change their minds. Of course they'll change their minds. They'll catch up with me eventually.
Yeah. He's just that kind of thinker where he gets set on an idea and then can't think his way out of it.
Yeah. As for the longer road, Gandalf's about to say everything we just said. We cannot afford the time. We may spend a year in such a journey, and we should pass through many lands that are empty and harbourless, yet they would not be safe. The watchful eyes both of Saruman and of the enemy are on them. When you came north, Boromir, you were in the enemy's eyes, only one stray wanderer from the south, and a matter of small concern to him. His mind was busy with the pursuit of the ring. But you return now as a member of the ring's company, and you are in peril as long as you remain with us. The danger will increase with every league that we go south under the naked sky. Since our open attempt on the
clothes on.
Since our open attempt on the mountain pass, our plight has become more desperate, I fear. I see now little hope if we do not soon vanish from sight for a while and cover our trail. Therefore, I advise that we should go neither over the mountains nor round them, but under them. That is a road, at any rate, that the enemy will least expect us to take, because it's a stupid road.
Right, because it's insanely dangerous, and no one in their right mind would do it.
Yeah, no one would go this way. This is... I love that our heroes achieve victory through acting insane.
Yeah, that is basically what they do every single time. They're like, what's the line from the movie? The closer we are to danger, the farther we are from harm. It's the last thing they'll expect. Like, that's the entire story.
What's my computer doing?
I don't know, you froze for a second.
Me too. It was just a second?
I think so,
All right.
Tell McAfee to stop.
All right. Right? I think I did. I think we might be in the right place now.
Yay.
But yeah, absolutely insane. Okay, here's a couple of spies in Mordor, and everyone's looking for them. What are they not? What would only a crazy person do? Dress up as fucking orcs and join the fucking army. Like, no one would do that.
Right? How should we travel? By any way that makes sense? No. To Mordor, through Moria. That seems fine.
Absolutely.
You know what's funny is I've been watching Adventure Time, and there's a scene in there where they're like given this very important thing to guard the heroes, and they do basically this where they're like, she's like, there's a safe and very well guarded road, take it that way, and the hero goes, but that's where people will expect me, so I'm going to take it the way that no one in their right mind would ever take it, because there won't be any thieves there, because they won't think anyone in their right mind would do that.
The very first episode we saw of that traumatized me. We were at Starfest, and the kids wanted to watch cartoons, and there was this weird cartoon on. It was the episode where LeVar Burton voices the bubble that befriends BMO. And
Haven't seen that one.
she tries to get him home, and she gets him home, and then Jake pops him, and then she's totally miserable, and then she hears LeVar Burton's voice in the ether going, "No, wait, this is home. Now I'm free."
Yeah, that show will get you sometimes.
Sid and I are watching it like, what the fuck just happened?
I ask that question on the regular.
Yeah. It's
My
good
friend
for
that got, yeah, I text my friend that like got me into it, and I'm just like, hey, quick question, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, which one are you watching now? I'm like, the one with the deer, what the fuck?
Yeah, we still haven't like marathoned Adventure Time, but we did watch Midnight Gospel in about a week. That is some wow.
I am not familiar.
Same creator.
Ah, okay.
But it's podcast interviews with animations as well that are, it's epic. It's, you can't, yeah.
Very last color for this mandala. Ready?
Ooh.
And then it plays a little video. Yep.
Time lapse. That's so awesome.
It's a really cool app. It's free. I recommend it.
Okay. Do-do-do. We do not know what he expects, said Boromir. He may watch all roads, likely and unlikely. In that case, to enter Moria would be to walk into a trap, hardly better than knocking at the gates of the Dark Tower itself. The name of Moria is Black. That's a funny pun because I'm pretty sure Moria is Elvish for black.
Well, then he's not wrong.
You speak of what you do not know when you liken Moria to the stronghold of Sauron, answered Gandalf. Slap. I alone of you have ever been in the dungeons of the Dark Lord, and only in his older and lesser dwelling in Dol Guldur. Those who pass the gates of Barad-dûr do not return, except Smeagol. But I would not lead you into Moria if there were no hope of coming out again. If there are orcs there, it may prove ill for us, that is true. But most of the orcs of the Misty Mountains were scattered or destroyed in the Battle of 5 Armies. The eagles report that orcs are gathering again from afar, but there is a hope that Moria is still free. There is even a chance that dwarves are there, and that in some deep hall of his fathers, Balin, son of Fundin, may be found. However it may prove, one must tread the path that need chooses. I will tread the path with you, Gandalf, said Gimli. I will go and look on the halls of Durin, whatever may wait there, if you can find the doors that are shut. Good, Gimli, said Gandalf. You encourage me. We will seek the hidden doors together, and we will come through. In the ruins of the dwarves, a dwarf's head will be less easy to bewilder than elves, or men, or hobbits. Yet it will not be the first time that I have been to Moria. I sought there long for Thrain, son of Thror, after he was lost. I passed through, and I came out again, alive. I, too, once passed the Dimril Gate, said Aragorn quietly. But though I also came out again, the memory is very evil. I do not wish to enter Moria a second time. I don't know that I've read that story.
Right, I'm like, when
in his 70 or so years of adventuring did he enter Moria, and why did it give him PTSD? What was he after? Was he chasing Gollum at that point?
That's what I'm wondering, because that's the only time I can think of that would track. I mean, not that it has to be relevant to this story, but like was he But did Gollum ever? I guess Gollum went to Moria because that's where they. No, they found him under a different mountain, right? They weren't in
Oh,
Moria.
this is the mountain they found him under.
Okay.
He's totally in Moria right now.
Well, no, but I mean in The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah, that was a different mountain.
Yeah.
Much farther north in the Misty Mountains. Yeah, I want to know. Leave a comment if you know why Aragorn was in Moria before.
I hit a cup with another cup there. Sorry. My app is stuck on an ad and it won't let me skip it. And it's like, compare top rated Medicare plans. How old are you? 65? And I'm like, excuse me.
Fuck you.
Right? First of all, that's mean. Second of all, why can't I freaking skip it? Okay, fine. I'll just click on it. And then I'll be like, no, I don't fucking want to do that. You dicks. Fuck off.
He seemed to say.
I might not be able to color another thing because this is the only ad it's giving me and there's no way to skip it.
Close it and reopen it.
I did.
Oh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to try again.
I don't wish to enter it even once, said Pippin. Nor me, muttered Sam. Of course not, said Gandalf. Who would? But the question is, who will follow me if I lead you there? I will, said Gimli eagerly. I will, said Aragorn heavily. You followed my lead almost to disaster in the snow and have said no word of blame. I will follow your lead now, if this last warning does not move you. It is not of the ring, nor of us others that I am thinking now, but of you, Gandalf. And I say to you, if you pass the doors of Moria, beware. Ooh. I will not go, said Boromir. Not unless the vote of the whole company is against me. What do Legolas and the little folk say? The ring-bearer's voice surely should be heard. I do not wish to go to Moria, said Legolas. The hobbits said nothing. Sam looked at Frodo. At last Frodo spoke. I do not wish to go, he said, but neither do I wish to refuse the advice of Gandalf. I beg that there should be no vote until we have slept on it. Gandalf will get votes easier in the light of the morning than in this cold gloom. How the wind howls. At these words all fell into silent thought. They heard the wind hissing among the rocks and trees, and there was a howling and wailing round them in the empty spaces of the night. Suddenly Aragorn leaped to his feet. How the wind howls, he cried. It is howling with wolf voices. The wargs have come west of the mountains. Need we wait until morning then? Said Gandalf. It is as I said. Never said there were wolves.
That is true. I don't recall him ever saying anything about wolves.
He's palpatining. Like, yes, good. It's all going according to my plan. Everything changes. Yes, this was also my plan.
Every plan was my plan. All right, we're going for a different app because that one's stuck on this ad that I can't skip, and that also never ends.
Oh, Lord.
However, this is a very fun thing also, so that's fun. That's going to be fine.
The hunt is up. Even if we live to see the dawn, who now will wish to journey south by night with the wild wolves on his trail? What are you doing?
Okay, let me find one. Hang on. So what you do is you have this little like rainbow thing, and you hit play, and it shows you the rainbow, and then the tiles disappear, and they come back all scrambled, and you have to arrange it in color.
So OCD. That is epically OCD.
It's very soothing.
I bet. I love it.
That's what we're going to do. Anyway, go on. Wargs and so forth.
Even if we live to see the dawn, who now will wish to journey south by night with the wild wolves on his trail? There we go. Little overlap for you. How far is Moria? Asked Boromir. There was a door southwest of Caradhras, some 15 miles as the crow flies, and maybe 20 as the wolf runs, answered Gandalf grimly. Then let us start as soon as it is light tomorrow, if we can, said Boromir. The wolf that one hears is worse than the orc that one fears. Is that an aphorism in Gondor? Because I love it.
I'm like, I don't know if that is an aphorism in Gondor.
It is now, bitches. True, said Aragorn, loosening his sword in its sheath. But where the warg howls, there also the orc prowls. Which, again, there will come a day when these are applicable in a situation, and I'll have to say them.
But it is not this day. No, wait. That's a different quote.
I wish I had taken Elrond's advice, muttered Pippin to Sam. I am no good after all. There is not enough of the breed of Bandabras the Bull Roarer in me. These howls freeze my blood. I don't ever remember feeling so wretched. My heart's right down in my toes, Mr. Pippin, said Sam. But we aren't eaten yet, and there are some stout folk here with us. Whatever may be in store for old Gandalf, I'll wager it isn't a wolf's belly.
Well, you're sort of right.
He's totally right. For their defense in the night, the company climbed to the top of a small hill under which they had been sheltering. It was crowned with a knot of old and twisted trees, about which lay a broken circle of boulder stones. In the midst of this, they lit a fire, for there was no hope that darkness and silence would keep their trail from discovery by the hunting packs. Round the fire they sat, and those that were not on guard dozed uneasily. Poor Bill the pony trembled and sweated where he stood. The howling of the wolves was now all round them, sometimes nearer and sometimes further off. In the dead of night, many shining eyes were seen peering over the brow of the hill. Some advanced almost to the ring of stones. At a gap in the circle, a great dark wolf shape could be seen, halted, gazing at them. A shuddering howl broke from him, as if he were a captain summoning his pack to the assault. Gandalf. What?
I said, ugh.
Gandalf stood up and strode forward, holding his staff aloft. Listen, hound of Sauron, he cried. Gandalf is here. Fly if you value your foul skin. I will shrivel you from tail to snout if you come within this ring. The wolf snarled and sprang towards them with a great leap. At that moment there was a sharp twang. Legolas had loosed his bow. There was a hideous yell, and the leaping shape thudded to the ground. The elvish arrow had pierced its throat. The watching eyes were suddenly extinguished. Gandalf and Aragorn strode forward, but the hill was deserted. The hunting pack had fled.
I just picture the wolves all being like, do-do-do-do-do-do. Just sort of strolling off, whistling, la la la. Who, me? I wasn't doing anything. What are you talking about? No, not I.
I never would. All about them the darkness grew silent, and no cry came on the sighing wind. I'm just off to find some elk. Keep the ecosystem going. La-da-da-da-da.
I'm a valuable part of the ecosystem. La la la.
The night was old, and westward the waning moon was setting, gleaming fitfully through the breaking clouds. Suddenly Frodo started from sleep. Without warning, a storm of howls broke out fierce and wild all about the camp. A great host of wargs had gathered silently and was now attacking them from every side at once. Fling fuel on the fire, cried Gandalf to the hobbits. Draw your blades and stand back to back. In the leaping light, as the fresh wood blazed up, Frodo saw many grey shapes spring over the ring of stones. More and more followed. Through the throat of one huge leader, Aragorn passed his sword with a thrust. With a great sweep, Boromir hewed the head off another. Beside them Gimli stood with his stout legs apart, wielding his dwarf axe. The bow of Legolas was singing. In the wavering firelight, Gandalf seemed suddenly to grow. He rose up, a great menacing shape, like the monument of some ancient king of stone set upon a hill. Stooping like a cloud, he lifted a burning branch and strode to meet the wolves. They gave back before him. High in the air, he tossed the blazing branch. It flared with a sudden white radiance like lightning, and his voice rolled like thunder. Naur Anadreithaman, Naur Danig Ngoroth, he cried. There was a roar and a crackle, and the tree above him burst into a leaf and bloom of blinding flame. The fire leaped from treetop to treetop. The whole hill was crowned with dazzling light. The swords and knives of the defenders shone and flickered. The last arrow of Legolas kindled in the air as it flew and plunged burning into the heart of a great wolf chieftain. All the others fled. Slowly the fire died, till nothing was left but falling ash and sparks. A bitter smoke curled above the burned tree stumps and blew darkly from the hill as the first light of dawn came dimly in the sky. Their enemies were routed and did not return. "What did I tell you, Mr. Pippin?" said Sam, sheathing his sword. "Wolves won't get him. That was an eye-opener and no mistake. Nearly singed the hair off my head." Well done.
Thank you.
When the full light of the morning came, no signs of the wolves were to be found, and they looked in vain for the bodies of the dead. That's handy. Self-cleaning enemy. No trace of the fight remained but the charred trees and the arrows of Legolas lying on the hilltop. All were undamaged, save one of which only the point was left. And this means that there will never be any proof, so they can be like, the wolves were as big as houses and there were 400 of them.
It's true. They can say whatever they want.
Boromir chopped off 95 heads with one sweep.
I finally got my coloring game unstuck, by the way.
Yay!
Yay! Anyways, yeah, they can just be like, yeah, dude, you should have seen it.
Oh, it was epic.
It was epic. It was amazing.
It is as I feared, said Gandalf. These were no ordinary wolves hunting for food in the wilderness. Again, Gandalf, really? You predicted that too?
But like, also, no shit, though.
Well, yeah.
It was a coordinated assault. Wolves don't typically do that.
Kind of makes you wonder, like, the Dark... do they work for Sauron? Was he like, well, let's see if these guys are an easy mark and if they can just get eaten by wolves and bring me the ring. Let's see if that'll work.
You know, if it had worked, it would be a very effective solution. Like, props to Sauron for not overcomplicating the situation.
Absolutely. Just throw things at them one at a time. I do like the thought, though, that maybe they were just independent contractors. Like,
where does one... Is there like a Craigslist for wolves? Where can I hire a wolf? That's really my question.
Hireawolf.com. Let us eat quickly and go. That day the weather changed again, almost as if it was at the command of some power that had no longer any use for snow, since they had retreated from the pass. A power that wished now to have a clear light in which things that moved in the wild could be seen from far away. The wind had been turning through north to northwest during the night, and now it failed. The clouds vanished southwards, and the sky was open, high and blue. As they stood upon the hillside, ready to depart, a pale sunlight gleamed over the mountain tops. "We must reach the doors before sunset," said Gandalf, "or I fear we shall not reach them at all. It is not far, but our path may be winding, for here Aragorn cannot guide us. He has seldom walked in this country, and only once have I been under the west wall of Moria, and that was long ago. There it lies, he said, pointing away southeastwards to where the mountain's sides fell sheer into the shadows at their feet. In the distance could be dimly seen a line of bare cliffs, and in their midst, taller than the rest, one great grey wall. When we left the pass, I led you southwards and not back to our starting point, as some of you may have noticed. It is well that I did so, for now we have several miles less to cross, and haste is needed. Don't bother to thank me. Let us go.
As some of you may have noticed, the rest of you may be idiots.
I did that on purpose. I do everything on purpose. I do not know which to hope, said Boromir grimly, that Gandalf will find what he seeks, or that coming to the cliff we shall find the gates lost forever. All choices seem ill, and to be caught between wolves and the wall, the likeliest chance. Lead on. Gimli now walked ahead by the wizard's side, so eager was he to come to Moria. Together they led the company back towards the mountains. The only road of old to Moria from the west had lain along the course of a stream, the Siranen. Siranen? How do you pronounce it?
I think Siranen.
Okay. That ran out from the feet of the cliffs near where the doors had stood. But either Gandalf was astray, or else the land had changed in recent years. For he did not strike the stream where he looked to find it, only a few miles southwards from their start. The morning was passing towards noon, and still the company wandered and scrambled in a barren country of red stones. Nowhere could they see any gleam of water, or hear any sound of it. All was bleak and dry. Their hearts sank. They saw no living thing, and not a bird was in the sky. But what the night would bring if it caught them in that lost land, none of them cared to think. Suddenly Gimli, who had pressed on ahead, called back to them. He was standing on a knoll and pointing to the right. Hurrying up, they saw below them a deep and narrow channel. It was empty and silent, and hardly a trickle of water flowed among the brown and red-stained stones of its bed. But on the near side there was a path. Avi, are you at the door? Okay, come in. What is it? Is it about time? Here, come sit while I finish up this paragraph.
That happy color.
It sure is. Good night, bud.
How do I know? I've seen way too many ads for that thing.
Well, that makes sense. I think they advertise a lot of places, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You mean you haven't downloaded it yet?
Yeah, I have not installed it yet.
Show Auntie Heather what happened to your tooth.
What happened? You lost a tooth. Right in the front. Oh my gosh.
One.
Huh?
Another one. This is my third tooth that I have lost this year.
Dang. Making up for lost time there.
Hardly a trickle of water flowed among the brown and red-stained stones, but on the near side there was a path, much broken and decayed, that wound its way among the ruined walls and paving stones of an ancient high road. Ah, here it is at last, said Gandalf. This is where the stream ran, Siranon, the Gate Stream, they used to call it. But what has happened to the water I cannot guess. It used to be swift and noisy. Come, we must hurry on. We are late. And there we have a gap. Dun dun dun.
Right now
We wrapping up there for the day?
I think so.
Right now it's like 12:52.
12:55. I thought it said 12:59 a minute ago. I could read another paragraph, or we could just chill.
We can chill. We can wrap it up a couple minutes early today.
With some Snickers.
Oh, you guys froze for me.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. Oh. Well, I'm glad your power's back on.
Me too.
Did you
Boy,
have
howdy.
to throw away any refrigeratables?
Yeah, I had to clear out the whole fridge and freezer pretty much.
That sucks a lot. We have made a vow to buy more Ben and Jerry's from here on in. They've always been like fallen on the right side of social issues, but this time their thundering denunciation of all things evil just it won my heart, and I cannot help.
That
Right.
makes a lot of sense. I think it is a good choice. What was I going to say? Oh, having to throw everything away wasn't as bad as it could be. For one thing, we didn't have any Ben and Jerry's. I told you I'm lactose intolerant now, right?
I think you mentioned that cheese was hurting you, and that sucks like more than words can say.
Yeah, so I haven't tried ice cream, but I did try like cereal with milk, and my body didn't like that either. Like I put a tiny bit in my tea and it's fine, but other than that,
right.
So yeah, anyway, so we didn't have any ice cream because of that, but also I hadn't gone grocery shopping, so we didn't have a lot of groceries to throw out. So that was good.
Yeah, we are going through enormous quantities of groceries right now. It's kind of ridiculous, but there's 8 of us with my brother here because Sebastian's at his mom's. Then everyone's got a healthy appetite except Abaddon, who lives on, I don't know, imaginary krill or something that he strains out of the air, because every time I sit him down for a meal, he's like, ew, the sauce touched the rice. Now it's all contaminated and I hate you and I'm going to leave now.
Well, I was a picky eater and a small eater at that age too. He's a lot like me.
And so was actually most of the kids went through this phase. Brown is the only one who never did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, some of them are still in that phase.
I mean,
All right. And they're in that phase.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, speaking of food, I'm going to go make breakfast.
Breakfast is awesome. Eat. Food is good. I need lunch on that front.
Indeed. Well, you have lunch, I'll have breakfast, and I'll see you back here on Friday.
I'll send you a link to that article and see if we can discuss it at some point, because I'm feeling like there's a lot of leaps of logic for the whole orcs are Asian thing.
I don't know if I can discuss it without reading the article. You can send me the article if you want, though.
That's what I meant. That's what I was saying.
You froze a little bit, so I missed part of it.
I will send you the link to the article.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
Cuidado.
Llamas.